Welcome to Cultivating Conversations with DP Square. I'm your host, Deja Parker, along with my lovely co-host,
DeAndre Parker.
And we are excited to be here, y'all. Another Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Thank you for everybody who always tunes in live and for everybody who watches after, because we know a lot of people watch after as well. Right, DeAndre?
That's a fact. Everybody, a lot of people watch after, a lot of people watch live, so we appreciate everyone. That's a fact.
For sure. Our Cultivate family. Oh, and shout out to this way, Yoda.
Oh, yeah, Yoda making a special appearance today.
Yes. But we're gonna hop right into it because today is Cultivate Sports Huddle, and this is usually my favorite segment. I'm not gonna lie, it's newer, but I love it.
Facts.
So we brought back a fan fave, a personal fave of mine, honestly. But we have Romello West back in the building, and we're gonna bring him up here. Mr. Local Sports TV himself.
Yes, my boy.
Yes. Woo!
Clap in the chat, man.
Yes. Glad to be back, guys. Glad to be back.
Thank you for joining us. I feel like we got a lot to get into, but one thing we started doing from the last episode, right, DeAndre? That was this the last one. We like to start off with a quote now, because I have this book that I had this for a long time, but it's called 2,500 Years of Wisdom.
Okay.
Sayings of the Great Masters. It's just a whole bunch of random old people, honestly, but it'd be some good quotes in here.
Okay.
So the one that I saw today, it said, whatever man does, he must do first in his mind. Okay. And it's by someone who I can't pronounce their name. But yeah, I can start with you. What does that mean to you? Like, whatever man does, he must do first in his mind. Like, what does that make you think about?
I think, like, you know how people say you got to see it to believe it, but with that, I feel like you got to believe it to see it. Mm-hmm. So in that quote, to me, it kind of was like manifesting, believing in what you know you can do, what you can achieve. I feel like that quote, you know, that's what that means to me. So whatever you think will come to fruition. So
yeah, that's true. What do you think, Romello? Like, whatever man does, he must do first in his mind. Like,
yeah, I think I pretty much agree. You know, just being a dreamer, you know, a thinker, somebody who has to first believe in itself from within, and then in order to, you know, achieve goals and, you know, pretty much go after what it is that they believe, you got to have it in head first. You got to have an idea first before you go out and change the world or become something. So.
Yeah, for sure. So I just wanted to have Kobe was saying, hey, so hey, Stephanie, hey, Auntie Dana, hey, Mike. And then Kiana says, every dream starts with an idea. Yeah, for sure.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And so Deja, what about you though?
I think like it just makes me, I agree with both of y'all, but then it also makes me think about how people really, really don't understand how powerful their mind is. Like, I think sometimes you have like these subconscious thoughts that, like, you think about stuff that you don't even realize you really think about, even if it's negative, if that makes sense. Like, I could be thinking about something like, I didn't even force myself to think this way, but if I force myself to think positively, I feel like I'll have better results in my life, if that makes sense. Like, so I try my best to not just allow negativity in my brain, because I'll start to think about it without even knowing. So I feel like with this, because a lot of things start first in your mind, you got to make sure you're being conscious of like what you're letting in there.
Yeah,
that's
for
how
sure.
I think about it. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get started, Deja, I want to just, for the people that don't know, Low Pro Sports TV, I just want to let him explain a little bit about what he does. So.
All right. So for the last couple of years, I've been using Instagram as pretty much my platform to just give my take on the local sports team. So specifically the Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins, and the Washington Wizards. You know, sometimes I may talk about baseball or something like that, but mainly just, you know, the Wizards and the Commanders. I use it and I just give my opinion on things. And sometimes, you know, I don't want to say my expert opinion because I don't get paid to do this, but you know, I just, you know, speak how I feel and give a little bit of insight on, you know, some of the moves that they make, some of the decisions that I made in the off season and, you know, during the season.
Yeah. No, and I love it too. I be tuning in. I'm like, dang, this sounds very accurate. So I really think that, like, even if you say it's not an expert opinion, I do think that you really take your time and you know what you're talking about. So it's still like a valuable, like, perspective for sure. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
But DeAndre, you want to start us off with our topics because we got.
Let's get it. It's heavy. It's heavy.
So
it's heavy. I think we should jump straight into it. We got the intros in, so. I think we should jump straight into it. We got the intros in, so let's talk about the Commanders, because I remember in the first episode,
and we got a lot of Commanders fans that joined.
Yes.
So continue, DeAndre. Continue.
So we talked about it in the first episode. Me and him, because Dave's is a hater. We was like, I was like, Commanders to the Super Bowl, but he gave me a reality check. He was like, I don't know about all that. Maybe the playoffs. Maybe we do okay, positive record. But now the season plummeted after that episode. So it's like, I want to ask you, what happened? Like, what happened?
So I would just to honestly say the team was in a position where it was literally boom or bust. Like we were going to be, surprisingly good, in that round with like the way the Buccaneers played, like, we might have surprised people, or we're going to stink it up, just the way we did. And I don't, I'm not really surprised. I'm disappointed. I was disappointed, of course, but not surprised, because you have a coach who, for us in the last, 4 years didn't really do anything, or didn't, provide winning records. And then you had a new offensive coordinator. So that's another, task for a team to learn something new. And then you had a quarterback who had never played
in too much.
No, I'm cool. I'm cool with Sam Howell. Shout out to UNC. He just, he didn't play much. So, you didn't really know what to expect. He looked really good early. He had good games, even in some of the losses that we took. But, the defense didn't produce the way that, they were expected to, or they were, thought, to be. They didn't produce. And, just it plummeted. It just looked like garbage, hot garbage.
Even kept no facts. But I want to even piggybacking on that, the trades that we made mid-season for the defensive trades, Sweat and Chase Young.
Right.
I know Chase Young hasn't been like since the rookie year like performing crazy, but it's why do we give them up for what?
Okay, so being in the position that the Commanders were in, right? We had just re-signed Deron Payne the year before, gave him $100 million, and then a few years prior we had gave Jonathan Allen a really big contract. And unfortunately in the NFL, outside of it being a sport, it's really a business. Yeah. So when you have Montez Sweat, who was in a contract year, and then you had Chase Young, who was also in a contract year because we declined his 5th-year option, you had to make a decision. And I firmly believe that if we would have let, those guys play for us throughout the entire season and go into the offseason trying to re-sign them, I don't believe either of those players would have, re-signed with the Washington Commanders. So they made the best business decision by trading them both and at least getting some type of draft compensation in return. And I do think, overall, while it didn't look good for us on the field, I think off the field we won because the Bears pick is like a high 2nd round pick, which some people look at like a late 1st round pick. And then, unfortunately for Chase Young, he didn't really produce, or he hasn't really produced for the 49ers. So I think anything that we receive for him is a win, in the current situation. So, we had to do what we had to do.
It's interesting though. I'm sure Chase Young is happy because they, they about to be.
He's going to the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. He doesn't.
Yeah. Somebody said Ant checking in. What's up?
That's my boy.
Okay, what's up, Ant? Who you think will be the best choice for the new head coach? I know they've been interviewing a couple people, but I'm happy Ron Rivera's gone. I ain't gonna lie, but
I agree. I think his time was done. I think he dealt with a lot, so it's time for him to just go ahead, pack it up, and leave. Yeah. But I think the best candidate now, before today, my favorite candidate was Ben Johnson, who's the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. But news broke today that he basically declined the offer and said that he was going to choose to stay with Detroit. So now with that being the case, I think our next best option would probably be Mike McDonald, who's the current Ravens defensive coordinator. You know, I don't know his age, but he's not, you know, on the older side in terms of coaching. So he's younger. And I think, you know, whenever you have a defensive coach, you know, you think about defense, and a good defense is like, you know, high energy, you know, hard nose, you know, and I think, you know, if we were able to get him, I think he'll be able to provide a spark in the locker room. You know, but some of the other candidates are pretty good, like Bobby Slowick, who was actually a former coach here. He was on the staff, you know, some time ago. He's the offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. So he's a pretty good candidate. Dan Quinn, who's the Cowboys defensive coordinator. We interviewed him twice. And there's another, I think it's two more guys. Anthony Weaver, who's also a coach for the Ravens now. And then what's the guy's name? Oh, Aaron Glenn, who's the defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions. So out of those guys, if I had to choose, I would say Mike McDonald, I'm sorry, would be my favorite choice.
See, I didn't even know none of that, like all these coaching options, but I do know DC needs a new spirit. Like,
no,
we need some resuscitation.
Like what he's saying. It's one of these coaches who ever come in, you know, I don't know too much about, you know, but it's nice to hear, you know, different options and you know what he's saying, and maybe I need to do some more research on that. But we need a new spirit in Washington in general, even with the Commanders, the Wizards. Like, it's the city's dead with the sports. The city is dead.
The Wizards are like beyond embarrassing right now.
Yeah,
beyond embarrassing.
I watched one of their games and I had to turn it off. That is not basketball. I don't know if it's because they just waved the coach off.
Right.
They just fired him mid-season. So it's like now you basically just take it for a pick. You're not you're not a contender. But why do we want every season to end the same way in every single sport? Like, you know, I'm not too heavy baseball, hockey, but I'm just talking about football and basketball. We always end the season just hoping for a high draft pick.
And I'm done with that. Now they about to potentially not even play in DC, so it's just, I don't know.
That's crazy. Looking bad for us right now. It's looking bad for us.
Because even again in the first one we were talking about the Wizards. Jordan Poole, what can he do? Man,
Kyle Kuzma.
What do you like?
Disappointed.
I thought they were going to be. That's what I'm saying. I thought they were going to be the spark, the young spark, the duo. Like, them boys is trash can right now.
Did you ever have hope in them, Romello? Like
the Wizards. I'm not gonna lie. I did. I had hope only because I felt like, you know, some of the trades that we made in the offseason were good. We did pick up good players, but I feel like, you know, more so in basketball, you do need like a star, and I don't think while Kyle Kuzma is a good player, he isn't a star. You know what I mean? And like I also feel like what hurt the Wizards a lot because we've been bad, you know, for the last, I want to say like it's since like 2016 or 2017. We've been, you know, other than the 1 year where we had Russell Westbrook, who's a star in this league. We haven't made the playoffs, and we've been drafted in the top 10. You know, so I feel like we just lack that star power here, and I feel like, you know, Kyle Kuzma is a really good player on a contending team, but he can't lead. Jordan Poole the same. I mean, they're good players. Don't get me wrong; like they can really, you know, do their thing on the court, but us, you know, team philosophy matters. You know, like how is your team going to be, you know, constructed? Are you going to be a defensive team? Are you going to go out there and put up 140? You know what I mean? Are you going to, you know, play through this guy or that guy? And I don't think we have any of that. Like we're not a defensive minded team. We can score the ball, but it's not every game. You know, we're not a 3-point shooting team. We're not, you know, we can't stop specific things, or we're not built to do anything really well. And I feel like in the NBA today, you have to be built to do something really well in order to make or have a really, really, really good player in order to make it, you know, to the playoffs consistently. And we don't have that. So,
yeah.
Hold up. Somebody in the chat has something to say. Well-known alias, real alias name.
That's Josh.
Yeah. If you would have told me we wouldn't win at least 25 games this year, when the year started, I would have looked at you funny. No, that's facts.
100%.
I agree. The over under for we had the lowest, and I said this last time. The Wizards had the lowest over under total for wins this season. I think it was set at like 24.5 or 23.5 or something like that. And I was talking about, the sports betting and how you should take it, but that's crazy. That was crazy. Like, that was a bad take. Yeah. Very bad take.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought that we was gonna come out hot. Come on, doing something that was positive for the city. Like Jordan Poole came in. I thought he was gonna be the truth.
Yeah, me too. He dropped 40 in the preseason game.
Like it was hype.
I thought sweating. You know what I mean? I thought he was gonna average 25 and 6. Poole's another 20 and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I watched one of the games and they don't even play they don't even play through him. He don't spark nothing. Like they give him the ball, he just dribble.
Literally, like I'm passing to watch him do something. Like
yes,
hey, we don't have no type of philosophy. There's no identity for the Wizards. Like we're just out there hooping like a pickup. You go to the rec, bring your 5 or bring your guys, and you're just running in the rec. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's not. It's bad. I mean, does firing the coach do anything for a team? Do you think? Even we can look at the Bucks because the Bucks just fired a coach and they were second in the East. I know it's internal issues and things. Right. Do you know anything about that? And
I don't think Doc Rivers is a good coach, but for his team. But
I agree. So, in terms of the Milwaukee Bucks, so this is just how I would, speculate, things to be. When you have a rookie coach, pretty much somebody who's never, been in the shoes of leading a team, right? And you have a superstar like Giannis, he's a megastar. Like he's like one of the top 3 probably, players in the NBA. Well, not probably, he is one of the top 3 players in the NBA. And I feel like when you add somebody like Dame Lillard, and then you have, like older guys like Chris Middleton, who has a ring, Brook Lopez, who's been, in the league. I think he has a ring with them as well. And you just like you have that core of veteran guys, Bobby Portis, like guys who's known to be outspoken. Mm-hmm. A rookie coach sometimes, if he isn't a respected guy already, like because sometimes you can have a rookie coach who's been on the bench, like as far as like coaching and assistant coaching for a long time, and he finally gets his shot, but he's a well-respected guy. Not saying that the Bucks didn't respect the person of Adrian Griffin, but I feel like sometimes, when you're struggling to find your voice in the locker room with those type of players, it just doesn't work out. And like you said, they were what 33-13 or 30-13, something like that.
Yes, a great record.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. I also feel like, back to my point, when it comes to the Wizards, they had no identity. Like they had no like it was no real philosophy when you looked at the Bucks. Like before they got Adrian Griffin, the Bucks was known to have a really good defense.
That's true.
They played good defense. You know what I mean? So when you get a new coach, your bottom, you're like bottom half in the NBA in defense, but you're winning games. It's like we're playing harder than we have to when we have all of this firepower. Something isn't right.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that's a great way to look at it. I didn't even look at it like that because I was reading up on it and I just heard of some internal issues with like an assistant coach and disrespectful comments and how, like you said, he lost the locker room.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good way to look at it is if you're not respected from the jump, superstars like that won't take anything. You slip up one time, you lost the locker room right away.
Facts.
So and like they just said, but Doc Rivers though, like
I know like
no one listens to him anymore.
Yeah, he's a perennial loser. Unfortunately,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's a perennial loser. Like just not even saying like he is a really good coach. Like in terms of getting you to the playoffs, and if you have a good team, he can get you. If you haven't made it out of the first round, he can get you out of the first round. But when in terms of like playing games that matter or in game, like his history shows that he couldn't do it. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't know how. And he's probably another guy who I feel like has just been really, really fortunate to be blessed with really, really, really good teams. Like going all the way back to the Celtics. You know what I mean? And then
he's been handed like
to the Clippers.
Yeah.
You know, you got Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, Philly with Embiid, and then now the Bucks. Like I don't know what he did or what type of deal he has with the NBA. You know what I mean? Like he keeps getting gifted really, really, really good teams. So shout out to him. You know what I mean? He's getting paid, but
he got no winning DNA.
Like what does he know? You know what I mean? Like
that's what I'm saying. Because clearly people have better resumes than him to be a head coach for a team like that, but they always choose him for some reason.
I know.
I'm a firm believer, man. Mark Jackson.
Oh yeah,
he should be a coach in this league.
He got done dirty. I'm still not over that.
I don't know how he's still getting done dirty 10 years later. It's actually crazy. Like, it's been probably 10 years since he got fired, you know, after winning 50 games with the Warriors. And this is like, nobody wants him to be a coach.
Commentators or whatever. Not commentators, but whatever. Yeah. What? Like who I ain't even gonna lie. The NBA has lost like my interest so much lately. Right. But do y'all have a team I think is gonna win this year? I know we're like ways away from that.
Really? Team I think is gonna win.
Celtics, okay. We can move on to the next.
Celtics, I don't know. They're a weird team when I watch them play. It's like sometimes they don't care like to win. Right. In some games they just go off. It's like it's really hard. You gotta really wait to the playoffs to see what's gonna unfold. But I think there's a few complete teams right now. I think the Celtics are complete. They got Porzingis and all that. They're very complete. I think Milwaukee. What? Why are you smiling?
Me?
I thought he was getting happy. Nah, it's true though. I think Milwaukee's like if they step it up, they have a good team. But everybody's in a weird spot right now, like right before the All-Star break. Like,
it is what it is. I do want to, DeAndre, if you don't mind, I do want to ask this question because I want your opinion on this real quick before we move to football.
Yes.
I feel like Simone Biles was disrespected because,
Lord have mercy.
Okay, for those who do not know, she is newly married and her boyfriend who's in the NFL, her husband, who's in the NFL, said that he didn't know who she was when they first started dating. Is that possible? I don't believe that for a second. I feel like who don't know who Simone Biles is?
I'll let our guest talk first.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So, do I believe that it's possible? Yes, and I'll say, you know, maybe not once they started dating. Like that might be a little stretch. Like he might have, you know, exaggerated a little bit, but. You know, beforehand, you know, when he first got to know her and everything like that, maybe because I'm not gonna lie, everybody doesn't pay attention to like gymnastics. No disrespect to gymnastics, a really good sport. You know what I mean? Shout out to all the gymnasts out there. You know, do y'all thing. You know, balance beams and triple back. That's really hard to do because a lot of people can't do that. But at the same time, I feel like. You know, if you don't watch that sport, you wouldn't just recognize her walking up and down the street because they don't have a. Well, she probably was on commercials, but
she was in the Olympics. I feel like that's true. Maybe he didn't. I like to me, I feel like I don't look at her as like okay, she's just playing her sport. It's like she's on the Olympic platform, but it could still be true. I still might just watch so many sports where I feel like everybody would know who she is, but. Stephanie says yes, that's possible. Mother says no way. She's an icon. What you think?
Okay, let me dial in on this. You know, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't think that you cannot know her. Like I think I honestly believe that if he grew with if I don't know him, I know that he plays with Green Bay or whatever. But if he grew up with a sister or a black mom or something. In some shape or form, he had to know who she was at the time. Simone Biles was winning every gold medal on every single thing that was possible.
That's true.
And I personally believe that if you sat in front of any TV at that time, you've seen her face somewhere. Now, granted, I saw what he said, and now, like he said, it is possible that he didn't know. And I think that you should take people for what they say. If he really didn't say he don't know, he didn't know.
Yeah.
And I don't think people should ridicule him for that and like belittle what he does as a person. Right. Just because people believe that he should know something he said he literally did that he didn't know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, and I guess it depends on like how it went, because if he saw her on the dating app, he should have immediately looked up on Instagram and would have known who she was. So I guess to me, I'm just because anybody you're dating, you're gonna try to find, not dating, but anybody you like, whatever, you're gonna try to find them. I don't know. It just felt so weird to me. But
I believe too.
No, that is true.
We're in a digital era. Like
like
her pictures probably had her doing a flip or something.
He dragged it. I definitely think he dragged it a little bit, for the people, but it's possible. Like, you know what I mean? Everybody don't watch gymnastics, but
that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
I knew she was worldwide. So
I knew who she was, you know what I'm
saying? Stephanie says, do you know the HBCU gymnasts?
Nah.
I don't. Well, is this from Fisk University or is this a different school? I don't know their names or anything, but
are they super good or something?
They must be, yeah. So I guess that's the point of saying it's very well possible to not know people. Well, but I don't think that's the same. But
yeah, but I don't know.
I mean,
okay.
But okay, to the NFL.
Yeah, to the NFL. Talk about
it. NFL rigged.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
I personally believe yes, because there's no way. I'm just gonna say I think Ravens and Detroit Lions Super Bowl is not sexy to the NFL.
It's not. It's not.
Like, it's not cute.
It's not at all.
It's not giving Taylor Swift and all that. There's no way. Like, I would have never imagined these two teams being in the Super Bowl in a couple weeks.
I mean, people did predict for it. I was going to do super well this year. Mahomes is Mahomes, but on the rig part. Now, I was watching that Ravens game, and Lamar looked horrible. I was looking at him, not like they weren't even. I watched them earlier that they said they dropped back like 80% of the game.
Yeah,
they were like the top 3 running offense in the league. So I'm like, why in the world would you continue to drop back? People game plan for certain people different. So maybe they seen Patrick Mahomes and they wanted to dot up the defense, but you have to do what's true to the game.
Right.
And then the next scroll down, I seen how much Taylor Swift, the revenue she was bringing in for the NFL. So now my mind started clicking.
It made sense,
game,
right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the game was close. So I'm not like, it wasn't like a crazy blowout or nothing, but it was just the way the game went just seemed so like, what am I watching?
It was odd. Right. What do you think, Romello?
So I feel, I mean, depending on who's saying who's looking at it, you could call it rigged. Sometimes I think they make, some weird calls. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but the Cowboys versus Detroit Lions game, when at the end of the game, it was 3 2-point conversion tries. It was 2 penalties. It was like, how you call it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like when stuff like that happens, it does give me rigged vibes. It definitely does. But in terms of the Baltimore Ravens game, I feel like they just got in a situation where they tried to outsmart the Kansas City Chiefs. And unfortunately, Patrick Mahomes is starting to get that. He's starting to get the same respect that Tom Brady was getting, right? In terms of like, when you play against those guys, sometimes you beat yourself, right?
Yeah.
And you beat yourself because what's worked for you or what has worked all season long. Like, for example, the Ravens is known to run the ball. Ran the ball probably a total of like 12 times that game. And it's like, why, why not run the ball against a team who isn't that good against the run? You know what I mean? Like the week before, the Buffalo Bills literally ran the ball, endless times and had endless yards on them running the ball. So why not just stick to your gut? You know what I mean? And Lamar Jackson, even the week before, had 100 rushing yards. So
that's what I'm.
Why not run the ball? So I feel like, in certain cases, yes, and I do agree with what you said about the whole Taylor Swift thing. Like, and I'm tired of seeing. I'm sick. I'm sick.
I'm over it.
I'm over her. I'm over Kelsey with his belly in the beard. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of all of that because it's just like it's starting to seem like a gimmick. You know what I mean? Like the sport is played on the field. Like nobody cares about Taylor Swift cheering every time Travis Kelsey score or every time he gets a first down. We don't care.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like show. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's just weird. But at some points it does give rigged vibes, and then at some points I think it's just people trying to beat, people just beating themselves. But here, so all right, because I do sports bet, and I'll give a little insight as to why it could have been rigged. So on FanDuel, right, the app. So the week prior, so the end of the playoff, the divisional round of the playoffs, right? You know how there was 4 games, I think.
Yes,
4 games, 8 teams, and then so you know how there's one, the early games played and then the later games played. So when the early game was won by either the conference, the net on FanDuel, it would show the possibility of the winner playing either team, right?
Okay.
So in the championship round, which was last Sunday, and I don't know if I was the only person to see this, but I'm pretty sure other people noticed it too. When the Chiefs had won the game, the only Super Bowl possibility that was showing on the FanDuel app was the 49ers versus the Chiefs. And this is before the game had started. Like literally the only possible outcome or the only possible, Super Bowl X whatever that was showing on the app was literally the 49ers versus the Chiefs. And I'm not trying to, it could have been glitch. But what I'm saying is, it was crazy.
There's something fishy going on with that.
Even this too, right? So like when the 49ers was down 17 points at half, right? Normally in a situation like that, and this is just like hypothetical. Normally when a team is losing by 17 points at halftime, the way the 49ers was losing, the odds for a comeback will probably be like in the plus 400s, plus 450, plus 500.
That's meaning like it'd be hard for them to come back, right?
Yeah, pretty much saying like, this game is pretty much over, right? Yes. The odds was only a plus 280, which is still really good for a favorite to get, that much, of the money, being plus money. But at the same time, I feel like it was a sign, like it was just a sign that, and the spread was only 7. You know what I mean? Like you're losing by 17 points, live spread being 7. It means you only think that they're going to lose. But come on now, like like something had to give. So
nah.
I do think the NFL gives rigged vibes sometimes. Just how people play be eyes. Like how do you play the same all season, and then you just don't show when it's time? Like it's just so odd to me.
It doesn't make sense.
I understand people are people, so they may crack under pressure just like anyone else. You may lose confidence in certain moments, but it's just like I don't know, just the way Lamar played and then the way the second half Detroit played. I'm just like, what?
It was. I turned it off. I couldn't even.
79ers were doing their thing, but it was just like, man,
that was crazy.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I think. Okay, should we go to our rapid fire instead, DeAndre? Or do you want to get to the?
Let's just do this last one real quick. I just want to see what he thinks, and then we'll do rapid fire. That's cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to. Do you think Kevin Durant should be on the Mount Rushmore of best NBA players right now, even though he has no solo chip? Like he hasn't won anything by himself, really.
So when you say right now, you mean like players actively in the NBA?
We want to do active or what?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
active.
Yeah, actively in the NBA.
Active, of course. Like active players in the NBA, Kevin Durant is, one of those guys because, and I'll say, outside of him not winning a ring of his own, he did lead OKC to a championship, to an appearance, which they got smoked. But he did lead them there, him, Russ, and James Harden when they were really young. And then he has a bunch of scoring titles. He led the NBA in points a few, I think like 4 straight seasons or something like that. So as far as current NBA players, yes, he's on around Mount Rushmore because he was, one of the first 7 foot, like guys to put the ball on the ground and wham, wham, wham. And
that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like he was one of those.
Wham is crazy.
So, I definitely do agree, but I don't think he should ever be talked about as like one of the greatest. And I love KD, right? I love KD.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but he should never be talked about as one of the greatest just because like I feel like in order to be talked about as the greatest, you have to have that competitive edge. Like this is still a sport. I feel like at the end of the day, and sports are competitive. And when you lose to a team, right, that you have a chance to beat, when you lose to them being up 3-1 or 3-2, with the home game, and you lose to that team 2 times, and then the following season you end up as a teammate to those guys.
That's crazy.
That was crazy.
You lose a lot of competitive respect.
Blasphemy.
Me, and I'm pretty sure anybody who's competitive will tell you the same thing. Like, you just don't do that. Like, you just look at that like, bro, like,
that's crazy.
I have no respect for you, bro. Like, that's crazy.
No,
wow.
He changed the world with that one. Like,
it was crazy.
They was on his neck with that.
They was, man, what?
Oh my gosh. Yo, no, not. I'm glad we agree on that because I was just like,
no way.
Yeah, but all right, let's get to the rapid fire real quick, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
I'm weak. Jeremiah said, "I'm just here for the KD slander." Wow.
Now, KD did OKC dirty. I'm gonna keep it real. He did.
He shouldn't have left, man. He shouldn't have left.
He's an interesting. Well, shout out to him. He's the best person who owns a Twitter account, but. We gonna. Was it Instagram? I don't know what he has.
Nah, Twitter.
Okay.
He
goes crazy on Twitter.
Okay, these are like rapid fire, so you got to answer like quick, like unless you want to give an explanation, but you know.
No, okay. I'll try to be as quick as possible.
Okay. All right. So the first one is Wemby the truth? Like,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, you say yes? Okay, DeAndre.
I'm semi-agree.
Okay.
He doesn't show enough, but the stuff he's doing right now is insane. So.
Okay. All right. Nicki Minaj or Megan right now in this.
I don't really know too much about what's going on, but
I don't either.
I'll just say if I had to choose, I know I've heard some both of them rap before. I would say I like Megan's flow, like the way she raps more than I like Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a Nicki lover, but she's losing her mind currently, so I guess I gotta go team Megan.
Rockers.
Yeah, I think she's on something, to be honest.
Me too.
I'm team Megan. Do you see that lie she was whispering? I'm like,
she's
somebody's behind me. I'm like, somebody behind me.
Yeah, she's lost.
Yeah, she's crashing out. All right. Okay. Is Brock Purdy a game manager? Like, do y'all think he's good, or you think he's just like a placeholder? Like, we going with okay, deserves to be there, or like he's just
I understand.
He got lucky. Like, which one y'all think it is?
I think he deserves to be there at this point. I mean, I think he does.
Okay.
I definitely think he does.
Okay. Some people still don't think he's good for real.
Yeah. I agree with him. I believe that every great team has great assets. So people say like IU, Kittle, Debo, McCaffrey. Like, okay, that is a super team. Now I'm naming them. Like, the defense is crazy too. But every good team has good players. So like, I can't call him a game manager for being put in a place with good players. Like, he doing what he need to do. He got
That's what you would want if you were a team.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you want somebody, a great QB with no assets that don't make it nowhere. Like, what's the point?
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you gotta give good QB good players.
I have one more point too about that.
Sure.
If he wasn't as good as if he wasn't good enough to be where he is right now, then there would have been another quarterback on the 49ers roster to take his spot. And I feel like, he's beat out everybody that they had on their roster, and he showed that, last week, if he had to play, given the right situation, he played well. Every quarterback has a bad game. Every quarterback throws interceptions. So, he showed up when he needed to, when the game was on the line. He did what he needed to do. So, shout out to Brock.
At this point, that's who I want to win the Super Bowl. So whatever.
Yeah,
Niners. Yeah, who y'all root for, real quick?
Anybody but Mahomes, man.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I don't hate Mahomes, but like,
I'm over it.
Yeah, I'm just over it, man. Like, I don't want him. Like, I don't hate Mahomes, but yeah, anybody but that guy.
Okay,
this is the last one.
All right.
You going with? Okay, what would you prefer, natural or BBL?
Oh my gosh,
natural.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm going natural though. Shout out to all the BBLs though, but I'm going.
Yeah, shout out to all the BBLs, man.
I'm going natural though. I gotta keep it real. Like,
okay,
Jason, what you going with?
Natural. What? I don't.
No, not on you. I'm saying like
answer in general. Like,
natural for sure.
Natural. Shout out to all the natural mommies too, man. Not like that, but I'm just saying, shout out to the natural ones, but
I know.
Yo, please.
Yeah, natural BBL, man.
No, I think you know what I think. I think Instagram. I think social media. You look at the BBL, and you're like, oh, it looks so good. When you see it in person, I think it's trash. Like
it's
that's
insane.
what I haven't seen a BBL before, but that's what I feel.
I agree.
Yeah.
BBL
okay. That was a good rapid fire. Okay, the last thing we like to end off with. Ooh, okay. I know what just got stuck. Okay, anyway. Is our like little new last minute that's called like #Go Cultivate, meaning like we just kind of like to end off of like something that we feel that people can like go and do or like leave we want to feel like our episode they left with something, if that makes sense. Yeah. So well, we wanted it to be sports related, but DeAndre, you had one that you wanted to bring up first before I
do. This one's a little sports related too. Anybody that's been an athlete or is striving to do something, I wanted to bring this up, just about your goals in life or anything. So on the source that I have is Success Starts Within. That's the website. Mm-hmm. And they talk about extrinsic. That's how you say it, right?
Intrinsic? Is that what you said?
No, there's one that's extrinsic, which is like external. And then intrinsic, which is internal motivation. But I want to talk about intrinsic motivation. Mm-hmm. So it says this is what athletes have, but this is what you're driven by. So, you're driven by your passion, your love, and things that you want to do in life. So I wanted to reiterate that even though all the people we're talking about, they're driven by something. It could be external or internal, but I feel like as long as you have a reason or a passion or something you're trying to achieve, trying to put food on your family's plates, or you're doing it just for the love of the game, I feel like that's important when you're doing anything in life. Mm-hmm. So I want to leave the people with, if you're doing something, do it wholeheartedly, do it for a reason, the right reason. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah, no, I like that.
That is love.
Mine, I wanted to say the thing that I encourage people to do is watch more women's sports because it's actually it's good. It's entertaining. Me and DeAndre had debates about this a lot, but the LSU and South Carolina game was so good when I watched it last week or whenever that was. But I just want to encourage people to give it a try, like check it out. It's not boring as people may think, and just, support them if you can. That's the one I wanted to say, but you have anything to plug, Romello? You want to plug your Instagram page or something?
Plug it all, man. Plug it all.
Like whatever you want
to. Yeah, my Instagram, lowprosports.tv. Mm-hmm. And just to piggyback off of what you said earlier, or the quote from earlier about, thinking it first before, just goes to like, just anybody chasing a dream, just continue to chase it. I don't think, achieving your dreams or reaching your dreams or whatever doesn't have a timetable. So if you're not in the space right now to chase them, as long as you're thinking it, you have the ability to achieve it. So follow your dreams forever, man. You stay young that way.
Period. I love that.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, Romello. I had a good time as always. Our sports talk.
Yeah.
Thank everybody for tuning in. I know we went over a little bit, but how can you not when we talk about,
facts,
stuff that we love? But we'll see everybody next week. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yes.
And we love y'all, and we will catch y'all when we see y'all.
See y'all next Tuesday. We will be there.
We will be there.
Thank everybody for joining.
Yep.
Be there or be squared.